Jiang Wei is standing on the balcony of a two-story building. Suddenly, a boy behind her calls out, "Jiang Wei, what are you doing?" When she looks down, she sees many people staring at her and asking her to come down. Wei becomes shocked. She thinks, "Why am I here? I was just sleeping a moment ago. Am I dreaming? What is happening to me?" She asks the boy, "Who are you?" Right then, a few people run out of the room and tell her to calm down. One man calls her darling, and her father gets angry. "You're only 30 years old. What are you doing? Have you gone crazy?" Wei is even more confused. 30? I just turned 25 today. And why is Fen Ziyan calling me darling? We broke up just an hour ago. Wei tries to remember, did I really travel 5 years into the future? At that moment, memories flash before her eyes. Fen Ziyan proposing to her, their wedding, Wei getting pregnant, both of them being very happy. Wei thinks, are these all memories of my future? Just 20 minutes ago, everything was completely normal. Wei was driving when the bank manager called. He said Fen Ziyan had just withdrawn $30,000 from their joint account, leaving $74,000 remaining. Wei said, "Okay, I'll check." Then when she called Fen Ziyan, he said, "I'm in a meeting. I'll talk later," and hung up. Later, in the parking lot, Wei saw the trunk of Fen Ziyan's car half open, and inside a shopping bag full of new women's clothes, none of which belonged to her. And the perfume scent on them was very familiar to Wei. She sensed something was wrong and slowly drove home. A party was going on at the house. Many guests were there. The boy from earlier noticed Wei quietly following behind Fen Ziyan. As Wei entered the garden, she saw Fen Ziyan hugging an unfamiliar woman. The woman asked him, "Why did you come back so quickly?" Fen Ziyan replied, "I was missing you." The woman hugged him and said, "Prove it," and Fen Ziyan gently kissed her. Wei watched everything from the shadows, her heart breaking, but she held back her tears. The woman asked, "What if Wei suddenly comes back?" Fen Ziyan confidently said, "She won't." She went to the hospital for a screening test. Then he handed the woman a debit card, but she said, "I don't need this. I only want you." "And what if Wei refuses to divorce you?" Fen Ziyan replied, "What difference does it make?" Even after seeing her husband with her own eyes, Wei felt like she was trapped in a nightmare. She hid and silently cried. What wife could stay calm after such betrayal? Right then, another woman said, "Meng Meng, your dad is here. Fen Ziyan, go meet him." The girl Fen Ziyan was talking to all this time was none other than Wei's own sister, Meng Meng. After Fen Ziyan walked away, Meng Meng's mother came to her and said, "Wei and Fen Ziyan have been married for 5 years, but Wei still hasn't given him a child. So if Fen Ziyan wants to leave her, he can do it anytime. Besides, Jiang Group isn't doing well. And at a time like this, only Fen Ziyan can handle the company. So it's very important to bring him into our side. This way, the business and property of Jiang Group will all become yours." Meng Meng handed the card to her mother and said, "Don't worry. Very soon, I'll make Fen Ziyan completely mine." Hearing both her husband's huge betrayal and her own sister's conspiracy, Wei was completely shattered. She looked like she had turned to stone in an instant. Wei slowly picked up a knife and began walking toward Fen Ziyan. But after a few steps, she stopped. She thought to herself, "Fen Ziyan, I loved you so much, and you betrayed me like this? Even then I can't kill you. What am I supposed to do? Is there anyone who can help me? I guess I really have no one." Thinking this, Wei dropped the knife on the ground and ran away. The boy from earlier saw Wei running. He went to the spot and found the knife on the ground. He understood Wei was about to do something very dangerous. He quickly called out Wei's name. Hearing the noise, Fen Ziyan looked back, and soon everyone ran after the boy. Wei ran up to the balcony again. Only one thought was spinning in her head. My own sister wants to take my place, and my husband is cheating on me. The scene shifts back to the present. Wei realizes this feels like some kind of parallel world where she can see her own future. She decides she will fix her horrible fate right here. She tells herself, "Fen Ziyan, I will never forgive your betrayal. I will take revenge." When everyone asks her what happened, Wei simply says, "I was just getting some fresh air on the balcony." Then, she holds Fen Ziyan's hand and walks downstairs. Everyone leaves except Meng Meng, who stays right there and asks, "Did you see something?" Wei avoids the question and says, "See what? I didn't see anything." Meng Meng replies, "No need to act. Dad and Fen Ziyan were both embarrassed because of you." Wei calmly says, "Why is that a problem? After all, I'm the eldest daughter of the Jiang family, the true heir of the Jiang company." Then she adds in a cold voice, "Meng Meng, honestly, I feel jealous of you." Meng Meng is shocked and asks, "Why would you feel jealous of me?" Wei says, "Because your mother gave birth to you without marriage. No matter what you do, no one cares." The truth is, Meng Meng is not Jiang Wei's real sister, and Meng Meng's mother, Qing, was never married to Wei's father. That's why Meng Meng's mother is always plotting against Wei. Wei steps closer, whispers into Meng Meng's ear, "You used Clave Christian perfume, right? Expensive stuff. Doesn't suit a third-class girl like you." As Wei walks away, Meng Meng grits her teeth and says, "Very soon, I'll take everything from you." Wei goes to the living room and grabs a bottle of drink to calm herself, but no matter how hard she tries, she can't open it. At that moment, the boy appears again, sits beside her, opens the bottle, and says, "Someone who can't even open a bottle, how will you fight everyone?" Annoyed, Wei asks, "Do you have a girlfriend?" The boy says, "No." Wei replies, "Of course not. Who would be your girlfriend when you act this rude the first time you meet someone?" The boy says, "This isn't our first time meeting." Wei tries to remember and says, "Oh, you're Chu Yomo, the successor of the Chu company." Yomo gets irritated and says, "I am Chu Yomo, but I'm not the heir of any company." He stands up angrily, and before leaving he asks, "Were you really about to jump?" Wei replies, "No, I was just standing there." Yomo says, "Makes sense. If you really wanted to jump, you'd climb a taller building. Jumping from the second floor doesn't kill anyone." Through this, he clearly shows how childish Wei's behavior was. Then Yomo adds, "When I was talking to you, it felt like I went back 5 years. It felt strange." Wei thinks what exactly happened 5 years ago? The story shifts to 5 years earlier. Wei had caught Fen Ziyan in a hotel room with another woman. When she got angry and tried to leave, Fen Ziyan said the girl was his client. She drank too much, and he was just helping her to her room. Wei angrily said, "Fine, then let me escort someone else to their room and see how you feel." Suddenly the scene breaks. Wei wakes up. She had fallen asleep on the sofa. She checks her phone and sees a message from Fen Ziyan saying he has an urgent meeting and will be late. Wei smiles because she knows very well it's all a lie. Fen Ziyan is actually at Meng Meng's house. Meng Meng asks him, "When will you marry me?" Fen Ziyan replies, "Once my company goes public, everything will be fine." Meanwhile, when Wei returns home, she hears someone talking inside. The lights are off. She opens the door and turns on the light, only to see a girl wearing a face mask. It's her sister-in-law, GJ. GJ says she got tired shopping for the wedding, and her mother told her to stay here. She also gives Wei some Chinese medicine to help her have a baby boy. Wei's mother-in-law and sister-in-law are extremely greedy, but Wei always tolerated them. But today, everything pushed her over the edge. Wei tells GJ, "You'll sleep in the living room tonight and clean up the mess you made." GJ is shocked by Wei's sudden change. When Wei goes to her room, her mother-in-law calls again, reminding her to take the medicine and asking her to send money. Wei thinks before marriage, she used to be a very different person, but marrying Fen Ziyan ruined her entire life. Meanwhile, as Fen Ziyan leaves Meng Meng's house, Meng Meng gives him a drawing he made and says, "Keep it in your bedroom. Whenever you see it, you'll remember me." The next morning, Wei finds GJ quietly sneaking out with her bag and sunglasses. Wei says, "Why are you taking my things without asking? You take my things every time. Is this house your shopping mall?" Fen Ziyan comes in and says, "Let her take it. I'll buy you new ones." After GJ leaves, Fen Ziyan says he's going on an official tour and asks Wei to pack his bag. Annoyed, Wei says, "I can't. Pack your own bag." Then she goes inside and shuts the door. When Fen Ziyan goes out, Wei calls someone and says, "I need some help." The next day, a man arrives and hands her a file. After looking at it, Wei realizes that Fen Ziyan has been deceiving her for years. But what exactly is inside the file will be revealed later. Meanwhile, a parcel arrives at Meng Meng's house. She assumes Fen Ziyan sent her perfume, but as soon as she opens it and smells it, she pulls her nose away in disgust. The scent is terrible. She messages Fen Ziyan to thank him, but he replies, "What perfume?" Then Meng Meng immediately realizes it was Wei's doing. She shows the perfume to Wei and asks, "Why did you send this?" Wei laughs and says, "You act like you're so clever, like a fox. So I specially made this with the scent of a fox for you." In anger, Meng Meng splashes water on Wei's face and says, "Fen Ziyan doesn't love you anymore. Very soon he'll leave you. Stay out of our way." Wei calmly replies, "I don't know if he loves me or not, but I'm sure he doesn't love you. And don't forget Fen Ziyan is still my husband. Whatever you two have means nothing legally." She walks away. Meng Meng can't respond because she knows Wei is right. Yomo calls the man and asks, "Did you give Wei the file?" The man says yes. Yomo says, "Make sure she doesn't know I sent it." Meanwhile, from the airport, Fen Ziyan goes straight to Meng Meng's apartment. Before entering, he calls Wei. A doctor answers the phone and says Wei came to pick up her medical report and left the phone on the doctor's desk. Fen Ziyan asks, "How is the report?" The doctor says, "Everything is normal. I've also sent the calming medication you requested. You should also come for your screening test when you get time." Hearing this, Fen Ziyan hangs up the call and rings Meng Meng's doorbell. At that moment, Wei is secretly watching everything from nearby. A little later, Meng Meng opens the door and jumps into Fen Ziyan's arms. When Fen Ziyan walks inside, Wei silently walks away. Inside, Meng Meng says, "Stay here today." Fen Ziyan replies, "Just be patient for a few more days." Then Meng Meng asks, "When will you divorce Wei?" Fen Ziyan pauses and says, "Wei's behavior has been strange lately. No need to rush right now. When the time is right, I'll divorce her." Then he goes to get ready. Just then, Meng Meng's mother calls. Fen Ziyan returns home with a bouquet. When he rings the bell, Wei opens the door and sees him smiling, no sign that he had just come from seeing Meng Meng. While Wei goes to bring him medicine, Fen Ziyan quietly checks her drawer to find her medical report to confirm whether she really went to the hospital. When Wei returns, she asks, "Did you also ask the doctor for medicine?" Fen Ziyan sweetly replies, "Yes, I want to share your pain. Also, I ordered a new expensive handbag for you." It's clear how manipulative he is. But Wei is clever too. She makes him take the medicine meant for her, but doesn't take it herself. Meanwhile, Jiang family head Tiang tells Meng Meng he wants to give her 3% shares of Jiang Group. Meng Meng says, "Dad, I don't need it. Wei is the real heir." But he says, "You are both my daughters. And after marriage, Wei never took responsibility for the company. You're the one capable of handling it." At night, Meng Meng's mother says, "This is your perfect chance to secure your position. I'll make sure the entire Jiang Group becomes yours." The next morning, Fen Ziyan wakes up to a call from his PA, Siqi. She says that several customers have had severe skin allergies after using their beauty product, and the news is everywhere. So Ruid Company sent an email saying they cannot make the company public right now. Fen Ziyan gets furious and says, "I'm coming. Call everyone for a meeting and arrange a dinner with Mr. Gu from Ruid." Before leaving, he sees that Wei made spicy momos for him, something she never allowed before because spicy food upsets his stomach. Wei says, "It's fine if I don't allow it. You eat outside anyway, so I thought I'd make it for you here." Fen Ziyan gets nervous. He can't figure out how much Wei knows. Wei checks the calendar and sees that there's only 1.5 months left before his company goes public. As she thinks, she quietly smirks a devilish smirk. At the office meeting, Fen Ziyan keeps yelling at everyone, asking why no solution is being provided. A staff member says, "If we apologize to the customers and compensate them, they might not sue." Just then, Wei enters and says, "Apologizing means admitting fault. First, find out why the problem happened." Fen Ziyan orders the staff to identify the root cause quickly. After everyone leaves, he says, "You didn't need to come here with so much effort." Wei says, "You have a big business meeting tonight, so I brought your outfit. And why are you so stressed when you have so many staff? You've worked so hard to build this company for 5 years. Fen Ziyan softens and says, "This company came this far only because of you. You gave up your own career to help me." Right then, Cici enters and says it's time. Fen Ziyan gives Wei a light kiss on the lips and leaves. Cici secretly takes a picture and sends it to Meng Meng. At that moment, Ruid Company calls Mr. Gu canceled the meeting. Fen Ziyan gets very angry and texts Meng Meng, "Dinner cancelled. Don't come." But when Meng Meng sees the picture Cici sent, she becomes furious. Because the meeting was cancelled, Fen Ziyan got frustrated and went to a bar to drink, where he immediately started flirting with the waiter again. He truly has no character. Meanwhile, Meng Meng came to Wei's house and asked, "When will you divorce Fen Ziyan?" Wei calmly said, "Give me 70 million and I'll divorce him right now." Shocked, Meng Meng asked, "Are you serious?" Wei replied, "I don't joke with you." Meng Meng said, "Fine, consider it a deal, but you'll pay for everything you're doing." Wei simply said, "We'll see," and walked away. Right after that, Meng Meng called someone and ordered them to sell her 3% shares of Jiang Group as fast as possible. At the same time, Ruid Company's board member Mrs. Chu had been watching Jiang Group for a while. When she learned Meng Meng wanted to sell her shares, she decided to buy them secretly under another company's name. Meanwhile, Fen Ziyan's manager informed him that after Ruid pulled out, other shareholders were selling too. Fen Ziyan told everyone to hide the news at any cost. On the other hand, Wei met with Siqi, his PA. Siqi gave her some important Lingrui Company documents and asked, "What exactly are you planning?" Wei said, "If I act now, the whole company will suffer, and so many employees will lose their future. You have to wait for the right moment to strike." Chi-Chi was surprised. "You were always smart. How did marriage make you so emotional?" Wei said nothing. That night at dinner, Wei gave Fen Ziyan all the documents of the dream house that was under her name and said, "Use this for your company. What's the point of a house when the marriage is already broken?" Shocked, Fen Ziyan said, "This house was your dream. If you let it go now, You may never get a house like this again. Wei softly replied, your company and your employees need this more. Touched, Fenzian said, once the company goes public, I'll return everything to you. Wei smiled and said, you've given me dreams for 5 years, that's already enough. Later, while standing on a bridge, she told Cece how Fenzian slowly manipulated her over the years. First with small requests like, can I sit next to you? And then turning it into, I only want you to sit beside me. That's how someone weakens another person from the inside, she said. Cece looked impressed. I like this version of you, Wei smiled. This is just the beginning. The next morning, Wei was helping Fenzian get ready for work while Meng Meng kept sending him messages non-stop. To hide it, he said, the company group chat is always noisy. Then Meng Meng called, but since Wei was right there, he said, unknown numbers keep bothering me. Wei asked, when will you be home today? Fenzian said, late. Then Wei mentioned she invited her senior from the business academy, Mrs. Chu, who is also a Ruid company board member, for dinner. I heard Ruid is pulling out shares, so this meeting might help you, she said. Happy, Fenzian replied. You're really lucky for me. I'll be home by 5. Meanwhile, Meng Meng grew even angrier seeing no reply to her messages. She called the office, no one picked up. Furious, she smashed a glass. Later, when Fenzian texted, very busy today, her anger exploded again. In the afternoon, she went to the office, but Sichi told her, Sir went home to spend time with his wife. Although annoyed, Meng Meng said, fine, let's go eat. Sichi agreed. During dinner, Mrs. Chu and her brother-in-law Yomo arrived. Wei and Mrs. Chu had been close since college. Mrs. Chu praised Fenzian's company. He also said he wouldn't have come this far without Wei. Even while talking, he secretly kept texting Meng Meng. Mrs. Chu showed interest in collaborating with Lingrui. Meanwhile, Cece told Meng Meng that she sent the earlier picture only to show how unreliable men are. Then she added, for a long time, Fenzian has wanted a child, but Wei can't give him one. That's why their relationship is failing. None of it was true, but Chi-Chi purposely misled her. Hearing this, Meng Meng became extremely happy inside and thought, Wei, I know all your secrets now. Your husband and Jiang company both will be mine. After dinner, Fenzian was thrilled and gifted Wei a locket. Let's go to a resort tomorrow, he said. Wei agreed. But right then, Meng Meng called. Using a call from the office as an excuse, he stepped aside and returned saying he had work, so they couldn't go. Wei understood everything but didn't say a word. Later, when he reached Meng Meng's apartment, he found her drunk and crying. Nobody ever loved me. Everyone looks down on me because my parents never married, she sobbed. Fenzian comforted her, and far away, Wei sat alone thinking she wanted revenge. But the memories and love from the past 5 years kept weakening her. All the painful moments flashed before her eyes from the day he ended their 3-year relationship, saying, being with you will ruin my future, to the slow emotional destruction she suffered after marriage. That night arrived the night a mysterious comet passed close to Earth. The news said communication might be disrupted for a while. At that very moment, the 30-year-old future Jiang stood with a knife in her hand, thinking, what should I do? Is there anyone who will help me? The comet's passing connected 2 timelines, allowing the present-day Wei to enter her own future, giving her a chance to fix both her past and her future. After the breakup, Wei was shattered for days. Then one day, a friend of Fenzian came to her and said, he is working day and night. Morgan's investment is important for the company, and because you requested them, other companies got angry at you. To protect you, he pushed you away. But this was all part of Fenzian's plan. He had already sent that friend to convince her. Wei softened because she trusted him. And Fenzian knew that Wei had connections with powerful companies. Without her, he could never grow Lingrui. Later, Fenzian proposed to Wei. In the first year of marriage, Wei got pregnant, but sadly, she lost the baby. That broke her completely. No matter how hard she tried afterward, she couldn't get pregnant again. In the 3rd year of marriage, rumors spread that Fenzian was seen holding hands with a woman client. When Wei asked him about it, he yelled back, saying it was just a business meeting, and blamed her for overreacting. Crying, Wei said, if I annoy you this much, then divorce me. Instead of calming her, he left the house. Outside, he messaged his sister GJ, go talk to Wei. When someone is emotionally broken, they become easy to manipulate. GJ told her, it's all the media's fault. You should try again. If you have a baby, everything will get better. And Wei believed her and apologized to Fenzian. This is how he manipulated her for years. Later, 30-year-old Wei went to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor said her last 5 years of reports were perfectly normal. The incident from 5 years ago was likely just an accident. Then Wei asked, then why haven't I been able to get pregnant all these years? The doctor said, stress and emotional pressure can affect everything, and her husband should get checked too. Wei quietly replied, He's busy. He couldn't come. And right at that moment, Fen Zion was spending time with Meng Meng, enjoying himself, while Wei struggled alone. Meng Meng asked him, "Aren't you scared? What if Wei suddenly shows up?" Fen Zion told her that Wei wouldn't go anywhere because he had secretly put a GPS tracker in her bag. He said that he knew she was at the hospital and that there was nothing to worry about. Hearing this, Wei thought so he was controlling me this whole time without my knowledge, treating me like a puppet. But now that I've come into the future, I finally have a chance to save myself. This time, he will face the consequences of everything he did. At that moment, a shooting star crossed the sky as if signaling her new beginning. The next morning, while Fen Zion was asleep beside Meng Meng, Wei called and said Mrs. Chu wanted to meet him. Fen Zion replied, "You go meet her. And the resort trip we planned, if you can't come, I'll just go relax alone." Wei smiled and agreed. When Meng Meng woke up, he gave her a locket the same kind he had given Wei the night before. Just then, a delivery man arrived with a medicine parcel. Both of them were confused they hadn't ordered anything. The delivery man said, "The parcel is for Mr. Zhu. Last 4 digits of the phone number, 6673. Hearing the name Mr. Zhu made Meng Meng freeze. She definitely knew that name, though it wasn't clear how. Fen Zion said it must be a mistake for another apartment. After that, they left for the resort. And in the parking lot, someone was standing Mr. Zhu himself, the person who ordered the medicine. Meanwhile, Wei went to meet Yomo. He had already guessed she would come. He said, "The day you called my sister-in-law, Mrs. Chu, the deal was already almost done. A good hunter always acts like prey at first." He explained that Ruid invests in businesses, but their branch BIO invests in people. That's why he wanted to collaborate with Wei. Wei said, "Fine, but you have to follow my conditions." Yomo smiled and said, "You've returned to the confident version of yourself from 5 years ago, haven't you?" Wei only gave him a mysterious smile and said, "You decide that." Later that night, when Fen Zion and Meng Meng returned from the resort, Meng Meng was asleep in the car. When he woke her up, she checked her phone and saw a long message from someone waiting to meet her. She quickly locked her phone and told Fen Zion, "You go. Wei might get suspicious." When Meng Meng entered her apartment and turned on the lights, she found Juan sitting on the sofa. Shocked, she asked, "How did you get in?" Juan replied, "We've been together since we were 19. There's no way I'd forget your passcode." Annoyed, Meng Meng said, "Our relationship ended long ago. Leave now, or I'll call the police." Juan said softly, "Do you think someone can forget that easily? I was the one who ended it, but today I realized you're the only one for me. I've only ever loved you." Hearing this, Meng Meng's anger faded. Juan hugged her gently. Meanwhile, Fen Zion realized he had left his phone at Meng Meng's place. Meng Meng panicked and said to Juan, "Leave quickly. He'll be here any moment." Just then, Fen Zion knocked. When she didn't open the door, he used his passcode and walked right in. Meng Meng pretended she was watching a drama in her bedroom. "I didn't hear you," she said casually. Fen Zion took his phone. Right then, a call came from Ruid Company thanks to Mrs. Chu's request. Ruid had agreed to invest in Lingrui, and Fen Zion had to attend a meeting at 10 a.m. the next day. Hearing this, he hugged Meng Meng in excitement while Juan watched everything silently from behind the curtains. When Fen Zion returned home, he gave Wei a beautiful portrait, saying, "Since you couldn't come to the resort, I drew this for you." He always knew exactly how to charm people. Then he told her about the call from Ruid and how their investment would finally let Lingrui go public. Meanwhile, Meng Meng's mother approached Wei's father, Tiang, and said, "Fen Zion and Wei aren't doing well. The business is struggling, and they still have no children. If he chooses someone else, the relationship between the Jiang family and Fen Zion will be ruined." Tiang calmly said, "There's no need to worry. Whatever happens will happen for the best." The next morning, Meng Meng woke up beside Fen Zion and drifted into old memories. 7 years ago, she had brought Juan home to introduce him to her mother. But the moment her mother saw him, she became furious and said, "You will never see my daughter again," and dragged Meng Meng inside. Juan stood outside in the rain, hearing everything. Crying, Meng Meng had asked, "Mom, why are you doing this?" Her mother said, "You're a Jiang daughter. You cannot marry someone with no status. If you choose him, you lose me." The next day, Juan told her he was going abroad, that he would return only after becoming successful. Meng Meng begged, "Take me with you. I only want you." But Juan said, "I can't take you." That was their last day together. Back in the present, Meng Meng hugged Fen Ziyan, trying to fill the empty spaces left by her broken past. A little later, she took a pregnancy test and discovered she was pregnant. Feeling stronger than ever, she confidently went to meet Wei. Wei asked, "How did you arrange 70 million so quickly?" Meng Meng replied, "I'm pregnant." Wei looked mildly surprised and said, "Why are you telling me?" "Go tell Fen Ziyan," Meng Meng said. "Leave the Jiang group and leave Fen Ziyan. I can give him what you never can. Wei calmly replied, he is my husband. What I can or cannot give him is my business. But have you thought about what society will call you? He'll always keep you hidden. Angry, Meng Meng said. Don't threaten me. You promised you would leave him. Wei replied, fine, I'll keep my promise, but give me the 70 million first. And have you even thought about what people will say when they find out you sold your company shares at such a low price? Meng Meng said, that's my problem. I'll get you the money soon, and left. Wei stayed there calmly, sipping her tea. Later, when Fen Ziyan came home, Meng Meng began crying dramatically, saying, if you don't give my baby your name, everyone will think I'm a bad woman. Softening, Fen Ziyan said, don't worry, I'll fix everything. Pretending to pack her bags, Meng Meng said, I'm leaving the city. You and Wei can live happily. I can't let my baby grow up being judged for being born outside of marriage. Fen Ziyan immediately said, I'll do anything for our child. Pushing further, Meng Meng asked, what if our families cause problems? Fen Ziyan assured her, I'll protect you and our baby no matter what. Once the company deal is done, I'll introduce you to everyone. Finally, he added, because of you, I can finally become a father. When Fen Ziyan went to sign the bet-on agreement, his manager warned him to think again, because the deal could either bring huge profit or cause major damage. But Fen Ziyan got angry and insisted that taking this risk was necessary to go public. He hurriedly signed the agreement and told Cici to invite Mrs. Chu to the IPO announcement event. Cici silently took a photo of the signed agreement and sent it to both Wei and Meng Meng. After receiving Ling Rui's agreement and the invitation, Mrs. Chu immediately called someone and said, you're spending too much time behind that girl. The man on the other end replied, why are you monitoring me? Mrs. Chu's tone turned cold. Don't forget our deal. Be careful. Leave no evidence. You know what'll happen if you get caught. The man said he needed more time. Mrs. Chu replied, fine, let's see what you can do. As soon as the call ended, the man was revealed it was Wan, Meng Meng's ex-boyfriend, meaning Wan had returned to Meng Meng's life under Mrs. Chu's orders. On the day of the IPO announcement, Fen Ziyan gave his speech and thanked everyone. Mrs. Chu and Wei were present. A moment later, when Meng Meng appeared, Fen Ziyan's face turned pale. He was saying, Ling Rui is where it is today only because of my wife, Jiang Wei. But the moment he saw Meng Meng standing behind the crowd, he clearly panicked. After the event, Meng Meng walked up to Wei and said, I've transferred the 70 million to your account. Now it's your turn to keep your promise. Wei smiled lightly and said, for the first time, I'm impressed by something you've done. Proudly, Meng Meng announced that last night, Fen Ziyan had proposed to her with a ring. Surprised? Wei said. So your hard work finally paid off? Which means 5 years ago, you intentionally broke your own leg just to get close to Fen Ziyan? Well, like mother, like daughter, both of you used your beauty and dance careers to destroy families. Then Wei added, what's the point of fighting so hard for a man who treats marriage like a business deal and only wants a respectable image in society? Both you and I know his marriage is nothing but a convenient arrangement. Wei took off the locket Fen Ziyan had given her and placed it in Meng Meng's hand, saying, here's your wedding gift. The truth was, he had given the same locket to both women. As soon as Wei walked away, Meng Meng smirked wickedly and threw the locket aside. Meanwhile, in the parking lot, Yomo met Huan and said, do you even know what you're doing? Mrs. Chu isn't helping you, she's using you like a chess piece. Shocked, Huan asked, how do you know? Yomo replied, I know everything about you. And remember, if Jiang Wei gets hurt because of you, I won't spare you. Meanwhile, chaos erupted at Ling Rui. Suddenly, news spread everywhere. Fen Ziyan had supposedly divorced Wei and secretly married Meng Meng. Photos of them had already reached the media. The company's value dropped instantly. Because of the bet-on agreement, they now had to pay massive penalties, and another company filed a fraud case against them. Ling Rui was on the brink of collapse. Bankruptcy could happen any moment. During the emergency meeting, people said the news must have leaked from someone close. Fen Ziyan told Cici to call Wei, but she wasn't answering. Cici insisted, Wei would never do this to you. Someone is trying to destroy you from the inside. Fen Ziyan wondered who it could be. He decided to take the blame himself, even though everyone begged him not to. When he asked everyone to leave the meeting room so he could be alone, they quietly stepped out. Just then, Meng Meng called him crying, saying reporters were crowding outside her building and she was terrified. Should I go downstairs and tell them it's all fake? She asked. Fen Ziyan quickly said, no, don't go anywhere. I'm sending my staff. Don't worry, I'll handle everything. But the moment the call ended, Meng Meng's expression changed completely. She looked out the window and muttered, I knew you wouldn't marry me that easily. That's why I spread the news myself. Now you'll have no choice but to marry me. Right then, Cici messaged her, your plan worked. Fenzian is now doubting Wei. Wei saw the news spreading about her and Fenzian and simply smiled. She immediately called Chu Yomo from BIO company. Yomo laughed and said, "Finally, you called. Tell me your condition." Wei calmly said, "I want my name listed as a board director of Lingrui." Yomo agreed without hesitation. A moment later, his assistant informed him that strict orders had been sent to all media outlets not to bother Jiang Wei anymore. Yomo told his assistant to keep him updated about every move related to Mrs. Chu and the media. Confident, Wei walked into Lingrui's office. Siqi informed Fenzian that Wei was waiting for him in the meeting room. Hearing this, he ran to her and asked where she had been. Without wasting a second, Wei placed a file in his hand and said she wanted a divorce. Fenzian froze. "What are you saying?" he asked. Wei replied, "You used my trust and my innocence to fool me for years, and now you're fooling Meng Meng the same way. Poor girl doesn't even realize you're using her for your own benefit." Wei kept talking, but unable to tolerate the truth. Fenzian slapped her in anger. The moment he did, he realized what he'd done. "Hurt," Wei said. "For 5 years I've loved you, hated you, been betrayed by you, but never have I felt this humiliated." She slapped him back and said, "Everything you're suffering today is nothing but your own karma." Wei said, "I don't want to stay in this relationship for even one more moment. Send me the signed divorce papers within 24 hours. And she walked out. Fenzian felt his whole world collapse as if everything he calculated had fallen apart in a second. Meanwhile, at the Jiang family home, Meng Meng's father exploded in anger, saying, "You didn't just steal your sister's husband, you even sold my company shares behind my back." For the first time, Meng Meng didn't stay silent. She said, "Have you forgotten I'm your illegitimate child? Why don't I have your surname? Why did you give me Wei's grandfather's surname instead?" Her father raised his hand to hit her, but her mother stopped him, yet the argument continued. Her mother shouted, "We fought so hard to give you those 3% shares so you could have a future, and you sold them and humiliated us." Meng Meng cried, "Why do I have to survive on whatever Jiang Wei gives me?" Her father slapped her in rage. Trying to pretend to be noble, her mother said, "This is all Wei's fault. Because of her, Meng Meng turned out like this." Her father shouted, "If I knew the two of you were plotting like this, I would never have let you step inside this house." He ordered Meng Meng to cut off ties with Fenzian immediately. Her mother dramatically agreed and said, "Leave him." That's when Meng Meng revealed she was pregnant. Her father was stunned. Her mother snapped, "We're going to the hospital tomorrow. You'll get rid of that baby. What are you thinking?" But for the first time, Meng Meng didn't hold back. 7 years ago, it was you who drove Juan out of my life and told me to go after Wei's husband, she said. Her father glared at her mother, and the woman stammered, insisting that Fenzian would never make her happy anyway. Meng Meng laughed bitterly. "You pretend to be good people, but all of you are devils." Her father shouted, "You two tried to push Wei out of this family." Meng Meng sighed and said, "So you finally understand. I don't need to act like your obedient daughter anymore." Her father roared, "Leave this house. Leave the Jiang family." As she walked out, Meng Meng said, "I've never been happy in this house. No matter what I did, you always praised Wei." The stress triggered chest pain in her father, and right as Meng Meng left, her mother collapsed on the sofa. Meng Meng then went to see GJ with several expensive gifts and proudly announced that she was pregnant with Fenzian's child. GJ immediately called her mother with excitement, saying Meng Meng brought her a gold bracelet. Both GJ and her mother were greedy, so they instantly welcomed Meng Meng warmly. Fenzian's mother said, "I'm so happy. You are my daughter-in-law now. GJ and I will always support you." Cici informed Fenzian that the senior chairman had called an urgent meeting. Actually, Wei was the one who suddenly asked for it, so neither Cici nor Fenzian was updated beforehand. Shocked, Fenzian said, "Wei always stayed away from company matters. Why is she doing this now?" Cici calmly explained, "According to the latest report, Wei is now the owner of 10% of Lingrui." When Fenzian entered the meeting room, he angrily said, "I never thought the woman I loved would stab me in the back." Wei replied with steady calm, "I never thought the man I trusted blindly, the man I supported and helped rise for 5 years, would betray me every single day." Realizing things were turning against him, Fenzian asked, "So the bet-on agreement, was that also part of your plan?" Wei fearlessly said, "Yes, I'm simply doing to you what you did to me. And in today's board meeting, you will be declared an unfit CEO and removed from your position." Furious, Fenzian shouted, "You only own 10%. Do you think anyone will make you CEO?" Wei replied, "I bought 7% more from the market and I now hold another 16% from Mr. Fang. That makes my total 31%. And with Ruid owning 20%, your position lies outside the company." Shocked, Fenzian asked, "Do you think the other shareholders will allow this?" Wei said, "I don't need them to. They know exactly who you are, and no one wants the company to suffer, so you don't need to attend today's meeting." Enraged, Fenzian stormed out, yelling, "I will destroy you. Let's see who wins in the end." Wei simply said, "Don't make any more mistakes. One more wrong move and you're finished." After that, she went to see Meng Meng's mother. The woman, lying on the bed, asked coldly why she was there. Wei replied, "I heard you're unwell, so I came to see you." Annoyed, the woman said, "I don't need your sympathy. Because of you, my daughter and I were always ignored in this family." Wei's expression hardened. "This is your karma," she said. "Because of you, my parents died grieving. You destroyed our family, and you filled Meng Meng with greed and jealousy, made her believe I stole what should have been hers." Meng Meng's mother screamed, "I should have killed you. Keeping you alive was my mistake. As long as I live, you will never win." Wei replied in a cold voice, "Learn to stand properly first, then try stopping me," and walked out. Right then, Meng Meng rushed in, afraid Wei had harmed her mother. Wei said, "Relax, I won't kill her that easily. She deserves to suffer for every sin she committed." Meng Meng snapped, "Do you know why Fenzian left you? Because you're arrogant, and that arrogance is annoying." Wei replied, "You and he are the same. Both liars." Meng Meng said, "I won't make the same mistakes you did, and neither will my child." Wei calmly replied, "If we're talking about children, tell me, are you sure the person you met that day was actually Cece?" Meng Meng froze. Then slowly she said, "So everything Cece told me, all of that was planned by you?" She took a step back as the truth unfolded. "You wanted to trap me so I'd get pregnant and pressure Fenzian for a divorce so that you could take control of Lingrui? That was your plan?" Wei said. "A cheater always stays a cheater. The man who deceived his own wife. What do you think you are to him? For someone like Fenzian, only his desire and selfish interests matter. He doesn't care who he's with. You had nothing to threaten him with, so I made sure Cece told you everything you needed to hear. I knew you'd pressure him to divorce me. And honestly, thank you for hiring people to leak your photos with him because I was wondering how to push the divorce quickly. You solved it for me. You did it to humiliate me and threaten him, but if I hadn't reacted to the news, your whole plan would have collapsed." Wei handed her a medical report. "Now look at this. Fenzian can never be a father." The paper slipped from Meng Meng's hand. Her whole world collapsed. She finally understood the baby was Huan's. She had secretly gone to meet Huan that day. And Wei explained further, "My pregnancy 5 years ago? That was another one of his games. He made me believe I was pregnant, then said the baby was lost. For 5 years, he blamed me while refusing to get himself tested so the truth never came out. See how he hid his own fault and made the world blame me?" That night, Wei remembered every betrayal she had endured, drank too much, and cried alone. Somewhere else, Fenzian also sat drinking in frustration, and Meng Meng silently replayed all the mistakes that had destroyed her life. Wei eventually fell asleep on the sofa and, in her dream, saw the future version of herself. "Why did you bring me here? Why did you make me go through all this pain just to fix your life?" she asked in a trembling voice. The future Wei quietly apologized. When she woke up, her eyes were wet. The doorbell kept ringing. Annoyed, she opened the door and asked, "Who rings the bell this early?" The man turned around Yomo. Wei became embarrassed at once. Yomo smiled gently and said, "It's not early, it's noon. And judging by your eyes, it looks like you cried." When he reached out to fix her messy hair, Wei quickly stepped back and said she had tears because she yawned and immediately pretended to yawn to cover it up. Her house was a complete mess, so she closed the door, pretended she needed to change, and hurriedly shoved all the clothes under the sofa, exactly how we all panic clean when someone comes unexpectedly. Then she realized she didn't have time to truly change, so she grabbed a shirt from under the sofa and wore it on top of her old one. Yomo was still waiting. When Wei opened the door, he immediately noticed the clothes stuffed under the sofa. Wei quickly nudged them away with her foot and asked what he needed. Yomo leaned a little closer and said he needed her signature on some documents, so he came personally. Embarrassed, Wei said he could have just sent them. Yomo replied, "It's my company. I prefer coming myself." She signed the papers quickly. Yomo examined the signature and said, "The handwriting is the same, but the spacing is different. I've seen your writing before." Then suddenly he tugged her cheek gently and asked, "Are you really Jiang Wei?" Wei panicked and pushed his hand away. Of course I am. But even if I told you the truth, you wouldn't believe it, Yomo calmly said. You want to say you came from another timeline and your memories are different, right? Wei's eyes widened. How did you know? Are you some kind of fortune teller? Yomo gave a small smile. I believe you. I believe everything you say. He stared at her with quiet sincerity. Wei looked away in embarrassment, and Yomo shyly lowered his gaze and said, Then, I should go now. It felt like Wei could finally breathe again. She just wanted him to leave quickly to regain her composure. Lying back on the sofa, Wei sighed. She thought about all the chaos she had created and imagined the real Jiang Wei scolding her once she returned. She decided she needed to leave something behind for the real Wei. But as she wondered what that could be, Yomo's face suddenly flashed through her mind. She groaned and said, Why am I thinking about him again? Wei was searching Google for information about Yomo when the doorbell rang again. She opened the door and found a middle-aged woman who said Yomo had hired her paying double to come clean Wei's apartment. Hearing that, Wei felt deeply insulted. A little later, a package arrived at Yomo's office. It was a talking toy. The moment he turned it on, the toy kept calling him Momo, teasing him over and over. Yomo instantly knew this was Wei's revenge and snapped the pencil in his hand out of frustration. Sweet revenge indeed. Later, Mrs. Chu and Wei met at the golf club. Mrs. Chu asked her what she planned to do next. Wei said she wasn't sure. Life felt strangely quiet. Neither happiness nor sadness, just a calm moment that might be the silence before a new storm. She said she had wanted love from Fen Ziyan because she never got it from her own family, but she chose the wrong man. Wei attempted a shot but missed. Mrs. Chu was shocked. A sharp player with 3 years of experience missing like that? She asked. Wei said maybe she hadn't played in a long time, though in her mind she whispered, I'm 25. I've never played golf in my life. The future Wei's life was getting harder for her by the day. Later, while Wei was working at the office, Cece told her someone mistakenly gave her food with sesame, and because she was allergic, she collapsed before she could even react. When Wei woke up, she realized she was in the hospital, and when she slowly opened her eyes, she found Yomo standing there. She stared, smiling dreamily. Yomo teased, I know, I'm very handsome. Embarrassed, Wei said, I was looking at the sunlight through the window. You just blocked it. Then she added, Why are you here? And don't tell me this is another coincidence, Yomo said. It truly was. He had come for his own routine checkup and saw Cece rushing in with her. Since Cece was busy with the admission process, she asked him to look after Wei. Annoyed, Wei thought, do they think I'm a child who needs babysitting? Yomo asked how she didn't even know she had a sesame allergy. Wei said she thought the allergy had gone away, and she usually avoided such food anyway. Yomo said Cece actually thought Wei was hurting herself on purpose because of the divorce. Wei snapped, for a cheater like him? Absolutely not. Meanwhile, Fen Ziyan and Meng Meng were also at the same hospital for her checkup. The doctor informed Wei that her sesame allergy was serious, so she needed to be extra careful. Mistaking Yomo for her boyfriend, the doctor asked him to sign the discharge papers. Embarrassed, Wei grabbed the file, saying, He's my brother. His Chinese is weak. I'll sign. While signing, she remembered her dream and suddenly asked the doctor for a brain scan, saying she hadn't been sleeping well and had been hallucinating strange things. The doctor casually said she was fine and left. As soon as he walked out, Yomo reached to check her forehead for fever, but Wei stepped back too quickly and almost hit the wall. Yomo caught her just in time and said he was only checking if she had a fever. Wei awkwardly said they should wait for Cece outside. As she began putting on her shoes, Yomo smirked and asked, What did you tell the doctor? That I barely understand Chinese? Wei bolted out of the room without answering. Yomo followed her. Just then, Fen Ziyan saw Wei for a split second and froze. Meng Meng looked back but saw no one and asked whom he was staring at. Fen Ziyan made an excuse about getting the queue number. The moment he left, Meng Meng suddenly noticed Huan. She quickly walked to him, and he pulled her aside. Meanwhile, when Fen Ziyan reached the doctor smiled and said, Congratulations, you're going to be a father. Shocked, Fen Ziyan thanked him and hesitantly asked if he had really seen Wei earlier. The doctor said yes, she had gone into shock from an allergic reaction. Now Fen Ziyan was troubled, worried about Wei. On the other hand, Huan told Meng Meng he was there to see her and the baby. He showed her Fen Ziyan's medical report and said, I know this child is mine. Let's start over. I'll take care of both of you. But Meng Meng stubbornly insisted it was Fen Ziyan's baby. Huan, frustrated, grabbed her and said to stop pretending and forgive him. Meng Meng pushed him away and said, When I cried for you, you didn't take me with you. Don't show pity now. You have no right to force me. Huan suddenly asked, What if I do force you? Right then, Fen Ziyan came calling her name, so Huan quickly slipped away. Meng Meng made up an excuse, saying she was only telling him about the pregnancy seminar tomorrow. Fenzian looked around suspiciously but found no one and assumed he was mistaken. That night, in a bar, Fenzian typed and deleted message after message to Wei. Meanwhile, Meng Meng waited at home, but Fenzian told her he'd be late with work and asked her to sleep early. Look how the tables have turned now. Meng Meng waits the way Wei once waited. Meng Meng remembered Wei's words, "A cheater always stays a cheater." She wondered if Fenzian had gone back to Wei. Unable to control herself, she rushed to Wei's apartment. Wei didn't want to open the door, but Meng Meng held the handle tightly. When Wei finally opened it, Meng Meng noticed her engagement ring, and Wei pulled out hers too. Both rings were the exact same design. Meng Meng walked inside and froze when she saw wedding photos of Wei and Fenzian scattered on the floor. Shockingly, both photos, the one she had and the one Wei had, looked exactly the same. She ran to the washroom and was stunned to see even the toiletries arranged in the same pattern as hers. Wei said, "How does it feel? Did Fenzian copy-paste you into my place? He acts like a perfect husband from the outside, but he only does things for his own convenience. Whoever he's with, he reshapes them into what he wants, turns them into his puppet." Right then, Fenzian finally gathered the courage to call Wei. Wei immediately held the screen toward Meng Meng. When Meng Meng tried to move away, Wei answered the call on loudspeaker. Fenzian said the insurance company had been calling because their joint policies needed to be separated. Wei said coldly, "They called me too. I told them we're divorced. They will update everything separately, and don't call me with these excuses again," and hung up. Then she looked at Meng Meng and said, "I never hated you, but breaking a marriage hurts everyone. Forgiving is hard, and I want both of you to live with the regret of the pain you caused me." For the first time, Meng Meng had no words. She finally realized how horrible her actions had been. Her legs trembled, and she left crying. The next morning, she woke up inside a car with Juan sitting outside. Suddenly, the memories returned. Juan had given her water, told her he only wanted her to be happy, and she had passed out. He had mixed medicine into her drink so she wouldn't leave him. Meng Meng said weakly, "This won't work. We can never go back." Juan begged her to at least let him stay until the baby was born. Meng Meng snapped, "This child is Fenzian's," and walked away. Meanwhile, Fenzian returned home, didn't find Meng Meng, and immediately went searching for her. He found her sitting dangerously on the high railing. He rushed to pull her down, but she cried, "You'll cheat on me just like you did with Wei. I'd rather die with my baby than live like this. I don't want my child to grow up miserable like me." Desperate, Fenzian said, "I'll sign an agreement today if I ever make a mistake. All my property will belong to you and the baby." Only then did Meng Meng come down. Watching from afar, Juan walked away in anger. That night, while Wei was practicing golf, Yomo appeared and said gently, "If you hold your neck like this and position your hands like that, the shot will be perfect." And it was. Annoyed, Wei asked why he was there. Yomo said Cece told him she was learning golf, so he came to help as a friend. Wei said, "Help? You're here to make fun of me. You're ruining my practice." Yomo smiled and said, "Since I invested so much effort into you, I need to check if you're stable." Wei said, "You think I'll hurt myself? You think I'm stupid? I ruined everything in my old life. I won't ruin the real Wei's life now. That's why I'm learning golf. And I can't tell anyone I'm from another timeline either." Then she sighed and said, "Since you're here, let's get dinner. I only have dry snacks anyway," Yomo teased. "No one will believe your timeline story, kid." Wei exploded. "Who are you calling a kid? You're younger than me. Call me sis." Yomo laughed and asked, "Why do you always eat dry food?" Wei said, "Because unlike the Wei from this universe, I can't cook." Yomo asked, "Then who cooked the day you invited me for dinner?" Embarrassed, Wei said, "I ordered simple food and arranged it nicely on plates." Yomo smirked and said, "Fine, I'll teach you golf, but on one condition you have to call me Master." Wei glared and said absolutely not. She'd learn from a coach. Yomo replied, "No coach will ever be as good as me." Wei joked, "What's wrong? Do you like the Wei from this universe? Such an older woman?" Yomo turned red and said, "Say one more word and I'll remove Lingru from my partnership list." Wei said, "Forget it. Actually, thank you, at least in this universe, I found one friend. Otherwise, I'd be walking around wearing a mask." Yomo laughed and said, "Do you know why golf has 18 holes? Because in Scotland, when shepherds took their sheep out, they used to kill time by hitting marbles into rabbit holes. After hitting one, they'd look ahead and find another, and eventually, they found 18. That's how the 18-hole game began." Then he laughed and added, "I'm waiting to see when you'll finish hitting marbles into all 18 holes." Listening to his story, Wei fell asleep. Yomo watched her for a while, then gently took off his coat and wrapped it around her, an unexpectedly tender moment. And in that moment, he remembered their first meeting 5 years ago, when he'd walked into an almost empty office floor and seen Wei sleeping on a desk, her water bottle slipping from her hand. As he reached to catch it, she woke up. That was the first time they met. When Wei woke up and found Yomo's coat wrapped around her, she was a little surprised. She held the coat close, inhaled his perfume, and smiled softly. Just then, Cece called and said someone had intentionally reduced Jiang Company's short-term investments, and while trying to fix the situation, Wei's father had a heart attack. But Meng Meng's mother insisted on treating him at home with the family doctor. Wei's voice turned sharp. Call the private hospital. Send an ambulance. I'm on my way. Meanwhile, Meng Meng's mother wasn't letting even the family doctor into the room because she wanted Wei's father's condition to get worse. If he died, all his property would fall into Meng Meng's hands. The doctor tried to force his way in but couldn't. Just then, Wei arrived and said firmly, "Deliberately delaying treatment is a crime. From today, neither of you have any place in this family." Then she threw a file in front of them. "This contains proof of your affair, proof that you stole Jiang Group's assets and sold them, and proof that your so-called family doctor has been embezzling money from the company." Shocked, Meng Meng's mother whispered, "How do you know all this?" Wei said coldly, "I know every sin you've committed, and for everything you did to my mother, I will return the pain twice." The ambulance arrived, and without wasting a second, Wei took her father away. Meanwhile, Yomo confronted Mrs. Chu. "Why did you cause Jiang Company's stock value to drop?" Mrs. Chu calmly replied, "Because it belongs to Wei," Yomo said. "Leave Wei alone. I promise I won't take a single ruined share. You can give the entire company to your son if you want." At the hospital, her father woke up and said, "You're here?" Wei replied sharply, "If I hadn't come, you wouldn't be alive." Tiang sighed and said, "I admit it. I married into this family for wealth and status. The more successful I became, the more I lost my self-respect. Your mother, she was like a diamond, but stubborn too." Wei's eyes filled with tears. Tiang continued, "We loved each other, but eventually hurt each other. I know you're angry with me, and you're right. Everything was my fault. Time heals wounds, but the pain stays." He broke into tears. Wei said quietly, "Did you ever act like a father? I have no right to forgive you. I only came because I didn't want the regret of not saving you." Then she placed the file beside him. "These contain all the crimes committed by your second wife and her lover. Transfer every share under my mother's name to me. I don't need yours, and I'll find out who's trying to destroy the company." Tiang cried and said, "I'll give you whatever you ask." Wei replied, "Since you're stable now, I should leave," and walked out. Tiang watched helplessly. That night, Wei went out for a walk with Yomo. Seeing her troubled face, Yomo asked what happened. Wei said, "My father said things today I can't get out of my head. When I think of what he did to my mother and me, I can't stay strong. And the doctor said he has only 1 year left. I don't know what I should do. If the real Wei were here today, what would she choose? My decision will affect my past, present, and future," Yomo said gently. "When I say Wei, I mean you, and you're smart. Whatever decision you make will be the right one." Then he shared pieces of his own difficult childhood. Wei smiled softly and said, "If we had met earlier, maybe I could have eased some of your pain." Yomo laughed and said, "Don't worry. When we're 100 years old, today will still count as our childhood." Wei smiled, and Yomo just watched her quietly. They talked all night without realizing it. Eventually, Wei fell asleep on Yomo's shoulder. When she woke up, he handed her a carton of milk. She looked like she wanted to say something but didn't. Yomo said, "Come on, I'll drop you home." Meanwhile, Feng Yan was washing fruit in the kitchen when a message popped up on his phone. The moment he opened it, he froze. There was a video of him with the bar girl from the other night. His hands started shaking. He rushed to that bar to find her, but the bartender said the girl had already quit. Feng Yan stood there stunned until he saw the same girl outside, getting into a car and leaving. Right then his phone rang. Mrs. Chu. Her cold voice said, "You know what will happen if I make this video public, don't you?" Terrified, Feng Yan asked, "Are you blackmailing me?" Mrs. Chu replied, "Do you remember our deal? I help you become CEO of Lingrui, and you help me take over the Jiang Group. Otherwise, I'll send this video to Meng Meng right now." "Helpless," Feng Yan said. "I have no choice but to do what you want." That confirmed it. The girl was planted by Mrs. Chu. When Wei met Mrs. Chu, she said, "After witnessing so many coincidences, I always felt something was off. When I needed money, suddenly someone bought Meng Meng's shares. When I wanted to start a new company, Ruid magically stepped in. When I was about to ask for a divorce, Meng Meng suddenly got pregnant with her boyfriend's baby. None of it made sense. But when I saw you trying to lower Jiang Company's investment security fees to push it toward disaster, I understood you were helping me only for your own gain. Mrs. Chu smiled slightly. You're nothing like the old Wei. You analyze everything too clearly. The first time I saw you, I thought you weren't the real Wei because eyes never lie. No matter how strong someone is, they hesitate to hurt the one they love. Even when you became CEO of Lingrui, I wasn't sure. But the moment you missed that shot on the golf course, I knew, Wei asked. So the Chu family is all the same? Why help me, Mrs. Chu said. Because I made a promise, Wei replied. Then why break it now? Chu said coolly. Because I'm a businesswoman. I'm here for profit. It's business. And the game has just begun. This world is a stage, and you're not yet worthy of becoming my enemy, Wei said. What if I stand in your way? Chu answered calmly. You don't have much time. One mistake, and you'll dig your own grave, Wei said. If I don't try, how will I know whether I'll win or lose? Mrs. Chu smirked. You're young, your blood is too hot. Remember, in golf, the real enemy is not the opponent, it's yourself. Desperation ruins technique, and she walked away. From the next day, Wei began practicing golf again. Yomo appeared and said, Still practicing? Wei replied, To beat my enemy, I have to practice. Mrs. Chu was right. I'm not strong enough to face her yet. Yomo laughed. Then why not go to the office today? Wei frowned. And do what? Mrs. Wei is sitting there waiting to shoot me the moment I step in. Yomo handed her a food bag. My housekeeper made this for you. Wei peeked inside. Yomo added, You and the real Wei may look the same, but you're completely different. Before she could reply, the dream hit again. Wei collapsed, and Yomo caught her. When she opened her eyes, she was back in that dim garage, searching for the real Wei. The real Wei said, Your time here is almost over. Our lives are about to reset. Confused, Wei said. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Then, the future Wei appeared and reached out her hand. When all three touched fingers, the entire place shattered. Wei woke up asking, How long was I unconscious? Yomo said, A full day. Since when has this been happening? Wei said, Since the day I went out on the bike. Today lasted the longest. I think my connection to this world is weakening. My memories are fading. Maybe this universe's Wei doesn't need me anymore. Suddenly something clicked in her mind. She immediately called Sichi. I'm sending you some documents. Prepare them quickly and arrange a meeting between me and Feng Yan. After hanging up, Wei said, I finally know how to beat Mrs. Chu. She pulled out the IV and stood up. Yomo asked, Where are you going? Wei smiled. To challenge her. Meanwhile, Feng Yan threw a file in front of Huan and asked why he was being blackmailed. Huan replied, If you leave Meng Meng and the baby, I'll stay quiet. Otherwise, tomorrow's headlines will read, Former Lingrui CEO is infertile. Feng Yan calmly said, You'll never do that, because the first person everyone will question is Meng Meng. You're only pressuring me because you couldn't get her back. Shocked, Huan asked. So, you know the baby is mine? Feng Yan replied. You thought I'd throw them out after hearing the truth? I've made mistakes, yes, but this time I want a real family. Blood doesn't matter. Furious, Huan said. You'll never love them like I do, Feng Yan said quietly. But Meng Meng chose me, not you, Huan threatened. If I can't have them, I won't let you live peacefully either, Feng Yan scoffed. You're supposed to obey Mrs. Chu, you live off her money, and now you dare go against her? Be careful, she'll destroy your life. Leave this city, I'll pay you. Just never come near Meng Meng again. With that, he walked away. Wei texted Yomo saying she didn't have much time left and asked him to come to her place at 7. On the way, she sent him a video. In it, Wei said, Get ready. The person you've loved for so long is finally coming back soon. I know you made a deal with Mrs. Chu to help make me the CEO of Lingrui. You were the one who sent me all the evidence about Feng Yan and my stepmother. You are the real secret hero of Wei's life, she continued. Wei first saw you 5 years ago when I was half asleep on my desk and my soda bottle slipped from my hand, about to hit the electric socket. If you hadn't caught it, something terrible would have happened. And the second time, after my fight with Feng Yan, when I grabbed your hand in anger and asked if you'd go on a date with me, you understood everything and took me away from that place. If you hadn't, I would have broken down completely. In the video, Wei admitted she was getting weaker, that her time in this world was running out. So she was fixing everything before the real Wei returned so that Yomo could finally confess his feelings to her without hesitation. At the end, she said, Use these flowers and this script. Propose to her. She'll say yes. Yomo ran to the bridge where Wei had left the flowers and the letter. The The script said, Wei, I fell in love with you the moment I first saw you. After the second time, I knew it wasn't infatuation, it was love. If you'll let me, will you be my girlfriend? Right then, a voice behind him said, Yomo. He turned and saw Wei standing there. The two of them just stared at each other silently, their eyes asking the same question. Has the real Wei finally returned? The next day at the meeting, everyone waited for Wei, and her delay made the board nervous. Feng Yan started the meeting and announced, Lingrui has recovered. Wei is being removed as CEO, and I will resume the position. Mrs. Chu smiled smugly and prepared to leave. But just then, Wei walked into the room. Everyone gasped. Feng Yan continued, There is one more announcement starting today. Wei is the executive chairperson of Lingrui. The room burst into applause. Mrs. Chu looked at Wei and instantly knew the real Wei was back. She said, So you've returned? Wei replied calmly, Why are you surprised? Jiang Group filed a case against you yesterday for corruption in your marketing policy. Shocked, Mrs. Chu asked. Then everything was planned by that Wei? Wei said, Of course, you completely underestimated her. Before she left, she made sure you'd pay for everything. Mrs. Chu wondered how she managed to convince Feng Yan. Wei said, Even if they went their separate ways, when it came to protecting Lingru, both Wei and Feng Yan always stood on the same side. Wei's voice softened for a moment. I never imagined I'd have to fight you like this, Mrs. Chu simply said, Everything is fair in business. Wei continued, After your husband died, you were scared Jiang Group would surpass you, so you oppressed us for years. Bad decisions destroy a person the same way they destroy a business. But I'll admit you helped me a lot in the first half of this fight. For that, thank you, Mrs. Chu smirked. Don't thank me, thank Yomo, she said before walking away. As soon as she left, Feng Yan walked in. Looking up at the sky, he said, Strange how the weather suddenly changed, isn't it? Do you remember the last time we watched the sunset together? Wei smiled lightly. Maybe 5. No, 7 years ago. When Wei started walking away, Feng Yan followed. You've really changed, he said. Wei replied softly. After everything I endured pain, humiliation, I had lost myself. But I got everything back. Feng Yan broke down. I made so many mistakes. I hurt you. I stole 5 years of your life. But one thing is true, I love you. Wei smiled gently. Feng Yan, no one can ruin my life. As she turned to leave, he asked, Can't we go back to how we used to be? Wei looked at him. I don't hate you, but I can never forgive you. Feng Yan lowered his head. Wei said, Maybe ending like this is best for both of us. Take care. And she walked away. Feng Yan stood there silently, knowing he deserved exactly that. Wan also sat alone, drinking, drowning in regret over everything he destroyed. Meanwhile, Mrs. Chu found her next target, Meng Meng. She told her, Feng Yan can't be trusted. The way he betrayed Wei, he'll betray you too. But if you want, I can transfer all of Feng Yan's shares and assets into your baby's name. All you have to do is withdraw the lawsuit against me. A wicked smile crept onto Meng Meng's face because devils never change. Back home, Wei's father found a taped-together family photo on the table, the same picture Wei had once torn apart in anger. She had fixed it and left it there, her silent forgiveness. Tiang looked at the photo and broke down in tears. Then comes the real Wei's story. Just like the first time they met with her asleep on a desk, a soda can slipping from her hand. But this time she slept with her mouth closed. Even then, the can slipped and Yomo rushed forward and caught it. Wei woke up and handed him a small gift. Confused, he asked, Do you know me? Wei smiled. Maybe. I saw you once in a dream. Then she put on her glasses, extended her hand, and said, I'm Jiang Wei. Yomo smiled back and said, And I'm Chu Yomo. And just like that, a new story began between them. One that, in another timeline, had been lost for 5 long years and finally found its way back. With this beautiful moment, today's drama comes to an end. Don't forget to let me know how you liked the drama. And if you enjoy my stories, make sure to like and comment to stay with me. Now I'm leaving, but I'll see you soon with a new drama story. Until then, take care of yourselves.